So I've got a piece of Bradford pear here that has clearly been sitting for quite some time now, and it's because I really didn't know what I wanted to do with it, or more really, how I wanted to approach it. Now this is one of the biggest pieces of Bradford pear I've ever got, so I know I wanted to turn a bowl from it, but there's this really big crack that runs right in the middle here, and it goes pretty deep, so I didn't know what the best way to approach this would be. So I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and here I am months later still thinking about it. But I figured it's a beautiful day here at the shop. Why not quit thinking about it? Just cut into it and see what happens. So let me grab my chainsaw. Let's get this thing rounded out and see if it's actually usable. Well, these cracks do run pretty deep as you can see, but not as bad as I was anticipating. So we're off to a good start with this whole no plan turning, even though this entire time I've been planning it out. I don't know. It makes sense in my mind, so I'm just going to roll with it. But anyways, with how these cracks are laid out and with how wavy this natural edge is, I think the obvious and best choice for style of bowl is a natural edge bowl with this one. And truthfully, that's kind of what I was hoping for, because I love turning natural edge bowls when the edge is kind of crazy like this. I just think they're really pretty. So that's the plan. Hopefully these cracks don't cause us any issues. I really think they'll be okay. I am a little nervous about it, but I really do think it'll be all right. So anyways, I'm gonna get the Arbortech grinder set up and get the faceplate on there. Be using this 3-inch faceplate to hold it on. And the Arbortech is to clean up the top here. So normally if it was more of a flatter top, then I would just screw it on. But since it does have this kind of crazy edge, I'm going to carve out a flat spot on here and then screw that in. So that's the plan. And yeah, also this bowl, I think I cut it right around 18 inches or so. So probably what I'm so what I'm going to do is probably clean it off on the extension here if it doesn't fit over the bed, and then clean it up and then move it over the bed to turn between centers. So that's the plan for now, even though, again, it was not supposed to be the plan. Either way, let me get the faceplate on so we can get this thing turned. All right, well, the bolt is ready to go, and you've probably noticed that one side is definitely a lot heavier than the other. And the whole reason for that is so the peak of the natural edge up top here, there'll be a little bit more level or even on the final piece. I definitely did that intentionally with the grinder. Now, like Bob Ross used to say, don't quote me, but it was, what was it? There are no mistakes, only happy accidents. I don't know, something like that. But either way, I'm glad it worked out. It is a personal preference. I like the level edges on the top. Again, there's nothing wrong with having unlevel edges. I just like it, and I'm glad it worked out that way. So all I got to do is clean that up. And another bonus is the heavier side has that bigger portion of the crack, so that allows me to turn that away a little bit more. But anyways, I'm going to get my mask on, and fingers crossed this thing does not fly apart. Well, I'm about 75% through the outside here, just a little bit left at the top to finish shaping up. However, I'll be honest, I'm getting a little nervous to keep on going because this section right here where this crack is, there only looks to be about 1 to 2 inches of wood actually connected to the rim there. So I'm hoping it's a lot more stable than it looks, and if it does stay together, then what I'll do is take some CA glue and try to stabilize it, but there still is the inside left to core out. But either way, I'm going to keep on trying, and if it goes plan, awesome. If not, then it's all right. Sometimes pieces just aren't meant to work out, and that's okay. However, I probably should practice what I preach sometimes. But anyways, I'm gonna get my mask back on and hopefully finish shaping this thing up. Well, that definitely went better than I anticipated. However, we're not quite out of the, what's that saying? I can't think of it now that I've tried to say it, out of the something, but we're not quite there just yet. I still have the inside obviously left to do, which to me is the more fragile part, especially when dealing with issues like this. However, off camera, I have gone ahead and put some CA glue in the crack to try to help stabilize it, and that seems to work really well. And also, surprisingly, a lot of the bark actually stayed on when I was expecting it to kind of all fly off. But about 90–95% of it actually stayed on. So I've gone ahead and ran a bead of CA glue around the rim as well to try to help keep as much of that intact as I can. So yeah, I'm hopeful. I've made it this far. I'm going to stay positive. I'm about 75% certain it'll be okay, that it'll all work out. But if not, if this part does come off, then I was thinking about it, it would actually kind of look cool, you know, with that section missing. But like I said, I've made it this far. I want that section on there. It's going to work out. It'll be all right. So anyways, let me get my mask back on. Let's get this thing finished up, or let's get this thing finished up so I can call it an afternoon. Well, that actually did work. I'm really happy with this, and surprisingly, these cracks were not near as much of an issue as I thought they would or would be. And I mean, yeah, as you can see there, it barely even shows through. I mean, it's still really pretty, don't get me wrong. And that's what's so funny is I'm kind of disappointed that cracks didn't show through more, but no, I'm not going to think that way. I'm really happy that it ended up all working out, and I'm excited to get this thing finished because I think it's going to be really pretty. So with that said, I am wore out. I'm tired. I'm going to call it an afternoon, and I will see y'all in a few weeks when this thing is ready to be finished. So I was out here admiring everything that's kind of in bloom right now. Things are growing. It's that time of year where everything looks really pretty. Saw something that stood out a little different. Came across that. Oh, the things I find in my wife's garden. Alright, so the bowl is dry and is ready to be finished. However, there are a few things I've got to take care of before I do that. So, as you saw in the beginning of this video, this bowl is kind of filled with some pretty gnarly cracks. I took some CA glue to help stabilize and secure those while I turned that. However, me being me, I got kind of lazy. I rushed it and I used the wrong CA glue to fill those in. So what ended up happening was when I sprayed the accelerator on them, it ended up bubbling up, created some white spots, and they just don't look good. So I'm gonna take some chisels, fix that, clean that, make that look nice. Luckily, it's not too bad of a fix. It's not that hard, but it's something that should have been done right initially. But you live and learn, or at least you hope you do. And then with also these big voids that are in this bowl, I'm going to keep them open. I'm not going to use any sort of epoxy or anything like that to fill them in. I think with a bowl like this, they look really pretty open like that. However, I do like to use some sort of sealer to kind of lock everything in. And what I use for that is thin CA glue. So what I'll do is pour the thin CA glue over everything, let it seep into it, lock in any loose bits, fill in any sort of hairline cracks that I may not be able to see, and let it naturally dry. No accelerator there. What I'll do, I'll just send away any sort of run over, anything like that. So with all that said, let me get my chisels, get this thing cleaned up the way it should be, and then we can get it back on the lathe and get it finished. So one of my big goals for this year is to get into hand tool woodworking. Now I currently have no hand tools at all, so that's definitely something I've got to save up for and work towards. But I was talking about this to one of my really good friends, Nathan, and then last Christmas, he got me this chisel set here to kind of start off with. Now, when it comes to the quality of these chisels, to be honest, I don't really know how high quality they are, what the quality is in general. But I'll say this. They've gotten the job done every single time I've needed them to. They've always done fantastic. Out of the box, they were very sharp. And I'm also not doing that high end of work right now, so I don't need the best tool around. As long as it gets the job done, that's what matters. And at the end of the day, this was just a very thoughtful gift from a very good friend, and that's really what matters to me. So thank you, Nathan, for the chisels. I really do appreciate it. And also, Nathan is trying to get his YouTube going. He does farming, homesteading, that kind of thing. So I'll link his channel in the description if you'd like to check that out. All right, well, it is finally time to get some oil on this bowl, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up things here. And if you made this far, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And let me know in the comments below if you think this bowl was worth the stress that I went through. Personally, I think so. I think it's a beautiful bowl already, but I think once I get the oil on it and see these colors pop, it'll very much be worth it. But I'm curious to know y'all's thoughts. And if you enjoyed this type of video, please be sure to subscribe. It really does help the channel out a lot more than you realize. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to get some oil in this bowl, and I will catch y'all next time.